do something a little different this time. We were actually going to review a movie. Yeah, something we've never done before. And before we start, I want to apologize for the crudeness because we just got home. It's kind of late to us. We still have things to do. We have to go to work tomorrow, so no lights, no professionalness. If I'd say professionalism, I guess I would say.
Clubs.
But we just got home. We wanted to talk about this movie. So yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody. For those who don't know, Queen is a huge musical inspiration for me ever since I was very, 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 very young, and even into my adulthood. It's kind of like I've joked about, movies that you watch as a kid, they get funnier as you get older because you start getting the jokes. But with Queen, as I became a musician, I started to kind of like really understand and like study their music, and I began to understand more about why I loved it as a kid. And it's funny because I know when this was first announced, I was pretty excited about it because I knew that Brian and Roger were involved. And I was like, okay, that's good. I saw the trailer. I was excited about it. My mom wasn't so much excited about it.
She was pissed. She was upset.
She didn't know how she felt about it yet, but she actually saw it first and was like, go see it. You have to go see it. So we finally did, and I know we're a little late on this, but I'm not going to lie. Overall, I absolutely loved it.
It was fantastic. And so he introduced me to Queen. Technically, hockey introduced me to Queen. But I didn't know
if you ever went
Queen.
To a sports event.
Yeah. I was like, but I didn't know it was Queen. So I was like, he said something about Queen one day. What were we, like, 15 maybe?
No,
and I was like, I don't know who that
early.
is. And he was like, yes, you do. And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, yes, you do. And I was like, I really, really don't. And he was like, we will rock you. We are the champions. I was like, oh. He was like, there you go. And it just hit me. And so he has introduced me to so many of their albums. And I don't know, we were 22. He finally introduced me to Lazing on a Sunday Afternoon. And it was fantastic. Freaking love that song. But anyway, and it just, like this, when I went and saw this, I didn't really know what to expect. And because he loves the band so much, I have grown to love the band so much. But I don't have like in-depth knowledge about their interpersonal workings. So seeing this, like, it makes you feel and really makes you like see what all the people kind of had to go through and what they were dealing with, and just kind of the inner demons. And the main actor, please forgive me, I don't know his name.
Rami Malek, I think.
Yeah.
Rami Malek, I don't know how you say his name.
Post it there.
Yeah. I'm terrible when it comes to actors.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know his name. But he, actually, I'm not even lying, all of them portrayed their characters so well.
Yeah.
I almost for a second thought that I was watching them. And there's a specific scene where he's in a bathroom and somebody's knocking on the door and the camera goes kind of down, and for a second I thought I was looking at Freddie. I swear, it was uncanny for that moment. I was like, oh my god. Like,
it's one of those, like at first it's kind of hard to really get into it. Like after a while you start to kind of become accustomed to the different actors and stuff like that, and you kind of get more involved, I guess, in the story. But I guess to go ahead and talk about some of the characters or the actors, Rami Malek, whatever his name is, forgive me. He was kind of the reason my mom wasn't she wasn't quite sure how she felt about him. But he does an amazing job. He really does. And he was handpicked by Queen themselves. I still feel that, I don't know his name again, forgive me. The guy playing Brian May, completely, like, he will not win any Oscars, but the man was Brian May.
Nailed it.
Like, he speaks just like him. Like, it's, if you were to close your eyes, you would think that was Brian May. Like, he nailed him.
All you have to do is have him turn around.
Yeah, like really, he was just
hair, everything. It was fantastic.
The guy playing Roger also did an amazing job. But I found it funny that the guy playing John Deacon is Tim from Jurassic Park.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Tim from Jurassic Park. Which what makes this movie even better for me, because that was like my favorite movie as a kid, and you have my favorite band as a kid, and I don't really know what that guy has done since Jurassic Park, but
I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, it's all come full circle, and he did an amazing job too. Like, I didn't know how I felt when I saw the trailers, but yeah, watching the movie, yeah, he did a really good job. As far as acting goes, they nailed it. And, you know, the story, I really feel like it was amazing how they were able to kind of shove so much in 2 hours and 15 minutes. It didn't seem rushed.
Yeah.
I feel like they did hit a lot of the important points.
They made a lot of jokes, which are hilarious.
Yeah. There's some comedy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of depressing moments, too.
Yeah. The end is obviously going to be depressing, because we all know how his life ended. But they don't delve too much into that, which I really enjoyed. I like the way that they ended it. It was very respectful. And I do like that was so nice. It was.
For me, as far as the story goes, they didn't... I don't feel like they focused so much on the AIDS virus. Like, they kind of... Yeah, they led
lightly
into it.
touched in it.
Yeah, but the other thing is, you know, they do touch on his homosexuality. Mm-hmm. But again, I didn't feel like that was the whole focus of the movie.
It's actually bisexuality, though.
It's bisexuality, but sadly most people are like, he's gay.
Yeah, they didn't touch on the fact that he was bisexual. He
says it, but I don't. I feel
they
like
drove home with the homosexuality thing, which.
Well, but you got to think, in the 80s that was a whole different story, and I don't think people believed in bisexuality. It was just like, again, it was a choice. Yeah. So that's how they viewed it. It was a completely different time. So they didn't focus on that too much, and they really. I love how they. You know, stayed focused on how much he, you know, loved Mary until the end.
I mean, the whole thing, it was like, their relationship in this movie was so sweet and like, real. Yeah. It felt real, and it was very,
I'm pretty sure touching. He was also the godson of her child, or godfather of her child. So it was amazing that she still stuck with him to the end. Like, that shows you a lot. But it also really shows you the struggle. Like, you know, Freddie knew that, you know, he was bisexual, and he kind of felt like he fought with that, you know, and that was the thing that, you know, people don't really understand. Again, it's a choice. I mean, come on, let's be honest. That's not what we're going to talk about today. Yeah. But I feel like that's what they hit what they needed to hit with that, and I think they did a good job. Spoiler alert. Before anybody freaks out, I was aware of a certain cameo by Mike Myers. I did want to talk about that for a second. Fucking hilarious and phenomenal. Yeah. Like, he actually kind of reminded me of Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder. Yeah. Sort of.
Oh my god, it was perfect. Yeah. It was like, you don't know it until you know it.
Yeah, it was...
Because I didn't know it. I had no idea that he was in that movie.
Yeah, it was spoiled for me.
I had no clue. And it popped up, and the person is talking, and for a second I went, that's Austin Powers. Yeah. And I meant to, like, lean over and ask him, but I was, like, so engrossed into the movie, I just gave up. It was so, like, the next scene was great. The whole thing was great.
I was worried it was going to kind of destroy, like, the illusion of the movie, but it really did add it. Because, like I said, there was comedy, and they, my God, they drive home the joke with... I'm in love with my car, which is hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have told him that. That's like...
Again, spoiler alert.
Yeah, super spoiler, because it's so funny.
But that was... What was great was the fact that, like, what was it? It's like, I don't see, like... that's the song I hear teenagers banging their heads in their car. Bohemian Rhapsody? I don't see that. And I was like, fucking great. It was subtle, but it needed to be.
I just got that now that I know who it is. Yeah. I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, that was the joke. So, yeah.
Sorry.
Mike Myers says that in the movie, and that's why I started laughing.
That is great.
Apparently nobody else got it, because I was the one laughing like nobody else was.
Well, I didn't know that's who that was. Like, I thought it was funny, like, because I instantly went to Wayne's World, and I was like, I mean, that's what everybody did, and that's what I still do.
No,
but I did not make the connection because I didn't know who that was. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So
that was beautiful. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And again, there's a lot of tearjerker moments.
A lot.
I usually don't tear up too often in movies, but this is Toy Story 3, The Lion King.
Still don't get The Lion King.
Whatever. But there's
we actually my family.
Yeah. But we actually went with a buddy of mine from work, and he was, choked up at certain moments.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just. It was just the way everything was planned out. They just did a good job with that.
For me, it was a big part of. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to overhype this movie for you. It is an autobiography style movie. Autobiography, is that right?
No, that would be if Freddie wrote it.
Oh, it's a biography style movie. Documentary, that's what I'm looking for. Documentary style movie. It's not, but it is. So as you're watching it, you're just watching the story of a person's life. Someone that you hopefully know and are previous knowledge of what happened through his life. So that kind of, you're expecting certain things. But the acting in this movie, the people in it really bring you in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes those scenes so much more emotional, because you can see it in their eyes as if it was Freddie doing it himself. Yeah. As if it was Brian May or Roger or Josh. John, damn it.
The bassist never gets the credit at all.
Yeah, he doesn't. He gets the smallest room, too.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Well, and I'm glad you said that, because for me, it's not really it is a biography. It's not really a documentary.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is there are some dramatized moments. It's a Hollywood video. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is. But I don't feel like it's too much. It kind of feels like it's in the middle of a good biography and a dramatized Hollywood movie. Mm-hmm. But it really does show you the reason why, for me, I've admired Freddie Mercury all my life. And it's not just me. There's musicians today who are still influenced by this man. People who are younger than me. That's crazy. But I always get kind of annoyed when people are like, he's gay. There was so much more to this man.
So was Liberace. People know his name.
Yeah, and there's if that's your main
Elton
focus.
John.
Yeah, I mean, if that's your main focus, that's just sad. You need to reevaluate your life, because this man, he knew he was going to die. There was no cure for AIDS back in the day, and the man kept working until basically the day he died. I always bring it up. Mother Love. Look up the song. By far the most depressing song you'll ever hear when you know the story behind it, because he only sings 2 verses. Brian sings the last one. He could not. He basically had to give up when he sang the second verse and went home to rest and could never make it back to the studio. So they needed to finish the song. And that was it. And I think that was a couple of weeks before he actually died. But that shows you this man did it until the end. This movie really hits it home that this man loved what he did.
Yeah.
And the band, I've even seen interviews, they were like, it was a reason for him to wake up. And I can see that. I could only imagine the struggle of knowing you're going to die. What do you do with your life? Do you just give up? Yeah. No, he kept going. He didn't do a lot of writing, I don't think, in the end, but he told the band, he's like, just give me whatever. I will give you as much material as I can before I go. And that just shows so much strength, and it's amazing. And the other thing that they really hit on was, obviously near the end of his life, tabloids were going crazy and all this kind of stuff. There was all this speculation, and they were doing what they can to hide it. And they really do hit on that too. But.
Yeah, I mean, even before he actually knew. He knew there's something wrong with him. They touched on that. So, they showed that he knew he was sick, but he didn't know what it was. And it kind of, you had this feeling of fear that he knew what it was. And when he was in the press interview, he was so kind of scared but irritated, and trying to still be private and getting just so frustrated. The whole band's getting frustrated, and it was just this whole thing, and you kind of felt like, shut the fuck up, people.
Because that's what it's all about. He wanted it to continue to be about the music, but it was about his health, and that's not what he wanted. And I get that, and I 100% get that. But But yeah, I mean...
And its gaieties.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it came out that obviously he was homosexual, and, you know, that is where it was. Like, everybody pretty much knew it was more than likely AIDS, but he didn't want to come out and say that. You'll love how, like, I loved how it ended. I knew it was going to lead up to the Live Aid concert, and that was the whole point of the movie. It starts off with them getting prepared for Wembley, or for Live Aid, and then it ends with that, because that's been considered the most, like, iconic concert in history.
We only had 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that was it, and that's all it took. And
20 minutes.
They killed it, and I love how they pretty much play the entire concert. I feel like we've ranted a little bit, but the last thing I want to talk about is obviously the soundtrack, which most of it was Queen, but they fit certain songs in certain areas so well that sometimes it just kind of altered the meaning of the song and kind of made it fit for what was going on. Like, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it.
Yeah.
And it just... That's where I think a lot of the tearjerker moments come into play, because you're like, oh man, like all of a sudden Bohemian Rhapsody has this whole new meaning to it, and all that kind of stuff. So, long story short, I loved it. I can't wait for it to come out on video.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I will be there day one to see it. I said that about seeing it in theaters, but I had to work. And I also don't like people, so...
Really waited for that theater to die down.
Yeah, so...
I don't do opening days
That's
anymore.
we rarely ever do it. And we end up hating it.
Yeah.
So, no, I can't recommend it enough. It was a great time. And the last thing I do want to say is I feel like, I meant to touch on it earlier, it is more of a movie directed towards fans. And I think that's what makes it great. Not saying that people who aren't fans can't enjoy it, but like definitely the hardcore fans, you'll really kind of get certain
and even
references.
new fans,
yeah,
you'll still really appreciate it. If you have no idea who this band is, you know who this band is. But if you have no idea who the actual band is, if you only know those 2 songs and that's it, you're probably not going to appreciate this as much.
That's what I love about it.
But it's still fun.
I've always, like, growing up in my generation, a lot of people my age didn't know Queen. I'm like, they're the most... What I would say, the most known unknown band in the world, because be like, oh, I've never heard of Queen. I'm like, Bohemian Rhapsody. I just start listing off the songs. People are like, that's all the same band. I'm like, exactly. So long story short, now I could talk about Queen all day, but this,
he has.
I mean, on the way home I was like, we never do this, but I feel like we have to. So yeah,
it's really good. Go see it if you know who the band is.
Just go see it.
Yeah, it's really good. Go see it. I mean, just the acting alone draws you in. It's great. They did a great job.